Hello. 6 years ago to this very day, I was in a dress rehearsal for a show up north where I used to live. And when I got there, I did the tech the night before and got my spot set up, got where I was going to do. And there was this black box in front of me, which, okay, stage manager tells me to stand in front of this thing. So I just assumed, because this was only my second show that I'd ever done, I assumed that it was a speaker. So next day, gets all suited up, go along to dress rehearsal, and we're running the show, and I can't hear anything out of this speaker, but that's okay because the rest of the speakers are. So I just thought, well, maybe they put there and it's broken, or they forgot to turn it on. Whatever. I was new to it. I didn't know what I was doing. So anyway, show's going great. Yes, they've changed 4 other songs a week before and didn't tell me, but hey, I wanted to please, so I just did my best. And then we got to the finale, and there was this big crescendo, darling, in the music, and this black box came to life. And turns out it was a pyrotechnic, and it went straight into me. Set fire to my legs, singed me a little bit. So yeah. The plot thickened when I asked for this to be put in the incident book, to be met with blank stares. And both the stage manager and the director both came over to me and said, well, what did you stand next to that for? Oh, I just fancy getting set fire to. Thanks. My day was otherwise dull, so I quite fancied self-immolation. So yeah, that was not great. So with that anniversary in mind, I went to band call and mini tech this afternoon. Now, a lot of theatre groups on the day of get-in, where they move into the theatre and they build all the props and they set everything up on the stage, and see how they're going to move it backwards and forwards. That's also band call day. And because everybody's in the same place, we're all in the same theatre, what they tend to do is run the show as a sort of mini tech rehearsal that same night. It's a long day, I've got to say. And what they do is they set up things like mics and where the speakers are going to be, and set up, if the band's like below the stage, they set all of that up so that when it's tech rehearsal tomorrow, official tech rehearsal tomorrow night, they don't have all of that preliminary logistical arsery to deal with. So I get there and I go to the theatre place, say hello to everybody, go into the theatre. Now, I've been to that theatre before. That's where we did Little Mermaid earlier this year. So I know the theatre. It's all right. I know where the toilets are. And I know where to park. So, I know the theatre. It's okay. I've been there before. It's not completely new to me. Hadn't worked with any of the tech people before, but whatever. So go up to one of the guys carrying a ladder and say to him, hello. And I've seen him a couple of times. So just said to him, that's where I'll be standing. And I ended that sentence. I didn't end it there, which I should have, but I ended it as a question. So I said, that's where I'll be standing. Is it? Mistake. And he went, no, there's some action going on there. We've got some scenery. So we're going to set up some little podium down here. And he shows me these 2 like triangular things that slot together to make up this little mini stage. And God help whoever has bought a ticket in the very front row, because all they're going to see for the entire show is my gusset swinging in front of their face. So I said, not keen, to be honest with you, but we'll sort something out. Anyway, later on, one of the directors comes over to me and says, look, you know where you should be standing. You are the expert in this. So you tell us where you're going to be standing and we will work around that. If there's action there, we'll just move it further onto the stage. It's fine. You tell us where you want to go, which was nice. So instead of saying, well, I've already told you where I need to stand because I sent you an A4 leaflet right at the beginning of this instruction. But instead I went, okay. So I went, spoke to the light lady and said, that's where I'm going to be standing. She said, good. We didn't want you on that little podium. And I went to the stage manager and said, that's where I'll be standing. How do I get to it? How do I get off? We worked that out. It's done. Drama averted. And then just went and listened to Band Call, ran a couple of songs that I'm a bit... There's one song that I'm just not happy with. I'm not happy with it. And I don't know how else to translate it. I've met my arch nemesis in a song from 1954. He says, how deep is the ocean? How high is the sky? And it's thrown me completely, because if you go, here's the ocean, how deep is it? Then you would have to do, there's the sky, how high is it? But it makes no sense to keep going up and down with your hands. So I've done it, how deep is the ocean? How high is the sky? But it doesn't look great. It doesn't feel great. I'm sure it doesn't make any sense. Maybe the next time I do this show, I'll have thought of something else. And besides that, there's a part in the show where there's a producer of a TV show and he's on the phone, and it kind of shows you him doing his job or what his job's about. But he's talking about setting up the running order of the show. Okay, fine, that's fine. But he's talking to somebody on the phone saying, oh, so your client doesn't want to go on after Topo Gigio? And your client's performing Seal? I mean, yeah, ha ha ha, it's very funny. But I do not think anyone under the age of 65 even knows what or whom Topo Gigio is. It's a mouse puppet, by the way. It was a big thing in the 1950s in America. But again, it's a culture thing. We had Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop. We had Muffin the Mule. We didn't have Topo Gigio. We might have seen him maybe on a Royal Variety or something. So yeah, this entire speech, it's about 3 minutes. It could have been just taken out because it doesn't add to the show. It doesn't detract from the show. And it's just this guy talking on the phone about some friggin' 70-year-old puppet mouse who nobody's heard of. So yeah, this show has been difficult for me. It's been difficult, not because the songs are difficult, because I'm old and I know them all anyway. And the way the songs go is verse, chorus, same verse, same chorus, 8-minute dance break, chorus, the end. So the songs have been relatively simple. There's a couple of songs in it that I've needed to think about, but the songs have been really simple. But it's the words in between that have been really quite difficult to translate and to deliver, because a lot of them are metaphorical or puns. So there's this bit where Bob and Betty aren't getting on, and she says, well, sometimes never the twain shall meet, and he says, sometimes the twain doesn't get out of the station. How do you do that? I don't know. And it's also been difficult for me because I've come off the back of Elf, which is usually not an issue. Next year I've got about 8 shows, so yeah, suck it up, girly. But there has been a national shortage of ADHD medication, so I have been really struggling to motivate myself to practice the show and get it translated in a way that I would be happy with. I've translated it as best as I can, but I'm not happy with it. It's not that I'm not happy with how I am delivering it. It's just that there are parts of it that you just think, I could have done that better, but I don't know how. And that, mes amis, is the real frustration about not being a fully qualified yellow badge wearing profesh, because there's no one to ask. There's no one to ask, you know. And even if you do ask somebody, they probably say, well, I don't know, how do you think you should do it? So, band call is over. Tomorrow night is tech, and I'm just going to turn up and I'm just going to do it. And then Tuesday night is dress rehearsal, and I have Tuesday afternoon off work, so I can run it a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, get past the bits that I'm really not happy with. And if they kind of change, what's the word, organically, if I just change them without even thinking about how I'm going to change them, then that's fine. I'll just work that in. And then Wednesday night, I'm going to go and see the show to see if there's anything different that I need to change. And then Thursday is the show. And then on Friday, it is December. And I have the whole of December off. I'm not doing panto. Oh, no, I'm not. So I can just relax over December and maybe have a think about, like do a retrospective, darling, of this year to see what it was that I was particularly struggling with. And I changed up how I translated a couple of shows this year. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think it depends on the show, to be honest with you. So I need to just kind of have a think over the December period about what works best for me and how I can best translate going forwards, knowing more now than I did even at the beginning of this year, let alone 6 years ago, when I was a good sport and did the rest of the finale in my new shorts because the bottoms of them had fallen off because they were singed, and didn't even want to accept money from them to go and buy a new pair of performing trousers. Not that the trousers perform, but you know what I mean. Because I was just such a good sport, and I didn't want to rock the boat, and I didn't want to come across as difficult. But instead, what I came across as is a doormat. And that ain't going to happen again. So, that's where we're up to. And I'm really looking forward to the show, actually, because it's going to be nice. It's going to be a really nice show. There's no absolute drama in it. There's one little misunderstanding which gets put right straight away. And the songs are great, and the cast are all really nice. So it's just going to be a really nice way to ease into the Christmas period and into the Christmas spirit. I did Elf 2 weeks ago, which was Christmassy, but it was November. So this is going to be Christmas time. So I will catch up with you in the week. Bye.